How do you think Brodie Croft looked today?
Thought he looked like Brodie Croft, but in a better coloured jersey.
Leeds have won back-to-back rugby league titles. The golden generation finally has its golden fleece. No England game, it seems, is complete without a Ryan Hall try. Jamie Peacock.
Kevin Sinfield.
Rob Burrow.
Jamie Jones Buchanan for Leeds.
It's one of the most popular beards in rugby league now.
There aren't many in Super League that can do that.
We just want to be a great friend, and if we can all try and be a bit of a better friend from time to time, I think we have a bit of a better place to live in.
The Lot Pod is kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. Fast Signs are an established family-run business who have been providing businesses around Leeds and West Yorkshire with effective signs and graphics for almost 30 years. Fast Signs are passionate about helping customers make a statement with signs that are eye-catching, effective and delivered fast. Hi everyone, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17-8 podcast, kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. Match review panel time, Leeds versus London. Joining me as always, my right-hand man, my co-host, but our amazing Statman Reese. How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. We're completely ignoring football, despite the fact that certain person over there is wearing a certain hoodie.
Yeah,
but yeah, just blanking that out and just focusing on the positives.
I can't stand them. I know we kind of just had a quick discussion about it there about Farker out and you're not Farker out, and it's just unbearable. Duncan's laughing. It's Duncan here with us for those that are on Spotify. Do you think there's any chance that they'll do anything in these playoffs?
No, absolutely not.
Do we even get to Wembley?
No, they won't do. Of course not.
Who have we got? Norwich,
yeah.
We'll win. Are we at home first? Sorry, Duncan.
I think we're away first, so I think the second leg's at home.
We'll win the first leg 1-0 and then capitulate.
You mean do what we did against Derby?
Exactly the same, but probably get beaten worse.
Lots to look forward to.
Can't wait.
Love it.
Enough about them. They're shy. Who's with us today?
It is our resident, unfortunately, Crystal Palace fan, as you can probably tell by his hoodie, but it's our Duncan. Duncan, how are we?
Good, mate, thank you. Yeah, really good.
I told him not to specifically not to wear that hoodie, but here he is in the hoodie. Match review panel, Leeds versus London in true Lot Pod fashion, gents. Let's start with the positives. Duncan, lots to take from this one, do you feel, for the Rhinos? How did you see it in terms of positives?
The main positive for me would be Jack. Thought he played really well. I thought he added to the team. Not many more.
You don't have many more?
I think, look, when you're playing a championship side, players are going to look really good. So, like, Miller was class.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got things that I want to say that I'll say because we are on a positive slant.
We are on the positives currently.
My main positives have been Miller, and I actually thought he worked better as well with Ackers on the bench and Jared starting. Mm-hmm. I felt like we had more control around the ruck. Now, whether that's just because we were playing a really poor side in London, so we were getting a lot more quick play of the ball, so you noticed Ackers a bit more. Who knows? But we'll see the real test against Catalan, I suppose, of whether it worked or not.
Statman Reese?
I've got a fair few written down, to be honest.
Bit more of a positive outlook from you.
Yeah, no, I've got a fair few. You know, I think Sinfield starting. You know, great to see him get his first start. I got Miller down. I thought Ackers was great. It's nice to see Ash Hanley back. Probably a bit sooner than maybe expected. I've also got Lasone asking to be subbed after he scored his try. That was a positive for me. I found that quite funny. Actual game time for Leon Ruin. You know, last week I snapped at you because you said 7 minutes, and I'm like, that's not game time, Eddie.
But it is game time.
He actually got more this time. And I thought we adjusted to the injuries as well. You know, losing Riley Lum within 90 seconds. Losing Brodie, you know, having to have Cam in the half probably wasn't, you know, that wasn't planned. And, you know, you had to adjust. And I think, a common theme of today's conversation will be, it's just London. And it was just London. I don't want to feel too harsh on them, but the London we saw on Friday night wasn't one of their best performances, but they still had to go out and do a job. And that's what we're asking them to do last week at Hull. and we weren't happy, or some of us weren't happy that didn't happen, at least this week they went out and did the job.
Agreed. I've got a few more positives. The West Stand was absolutely full.
Full of London fans, wasn't it? I didn't realise London had so many of them.
That bottom corner.
Absolutely bursting.
From where I'm sat, it was the bottom corner.
I've got Sinfield, a bit more game time for Edgell. I've got Lum, the fact he started. I only played seconds, but the fact he was there was quite positive at the start. Jared, Miller, Croft, again, only a bit of a cameo from Brodie, and Mick. I thought Mick was absolutely awesome as well. Do you want to go to the stats now?
Here's a guy who's got a mouth like a snare and a voice like a cat trapped in one. It's
Stat
Reese. You are listening to Stat and Race with Stats Corner. Stats Corner. Stats Corner. You're listening to Stats Corner. You're listening to Stats Corner.
Yeah, I'll go stats now. So, again, you'd think because of the nature of the game, a lot of these would be our highest of the year, but they're actually not.
Really?
They're the second highest for a lot of them, but they're not the highest. But look, it's the most points and most tries we scored in one game this year. Meters, 1,552, which was a second highest, and post-contact meters of 727, which was a second highest. Average gain, 8.2 meters, second highest of the year, and then tackle bus 44 was the joint highest of the year. Completed sets 30, second highest of the year so far. Set completion rate 90%, again second highest of the year so far. There is a common theme here. Plays in the ball in the opposition 20, 29, second highest of the year so far. Errors 7, so that's dramatically reduced from last week. 16.
Yeah, 16.
And then penalties, only 2 penalties conceded, so that should be a positive as well.
It did feel like a bit of a clean game.
Yeah, and then missed tackles 18, which is the least we've had so far this year. And if I then go to the players, we had 7 players over 100 metres. And when I hosted a pod a couple of weeks ago, I did a bit of a competition if you could name all 7, so I'm going to do that with you both now. So go on. Aledski, right? Miller, yep.
Martin.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Hanley.
Yep.
Roberts.
Nope. You're rubbish at this.
Lasoni.
Yep.
Jared.
Yep.
How many left?
2.
2.
2 left. Yep. 1 more left. For those that are listening on Spotify, is these two looking confused at each other? No, not Edgell. I'll give you a clue. It's a forward.
McDonald.
Sangare.
Justin Sangare.
Wow.
So
first time in his career.
So the top 7 were Lackey Miller, 210, a personal best for Miller,
and season high.
Second highest of the season so far. Ash Hanley's highest is 211, so one short of the highest of the year.
That ball and gone under the sticks himself.
Yep. So if Miller hadn't have passed the ball, that would have been it would have been the highest of the year. Aledski, 164 metres, his personal best, an average carry of 9.6.
Yeah, killed it.
Hanley, 150, O'Connor, 119, a personal best for him. He had an average carry of 13.2, which is quite impressive. Like, I know sometimes when you come off the bench, you make 1 carry, you'll get an average carry of 13 because you make 1 carry. Yeah. But he had quite a few carries as well. Lasone, 117, Sangare, 107, a personal best for the season, and Akers, 106, personal best of the season, and he also had a 10.6 metres per carry average as well. Assists, Andy Akers and Lachlan Miller, got 3 each. That's the first time we've had 3 assists by one player so for the Rhinos this year. Clean breaks, we had 8 in total. Croft claimed 2 of those. An interesting one, I thought, it was the most runs from dummy half by a single player in one game for the Rhinos this year, Akers. With 10. And tackle busts, only 2 players didn't record one. Miller had 12, Croft 5, Akers 4, and Jared O'Connor 4. And then tackles-wise, Jared topped the charts again with 51. Cameron Smith had 40 and didn't miss any. Gudemon 34 and McDonald 33.
Do you feel, we'll kind of start with Andy Akers' dunk. Do you feel when Brodie Croft went off, Akers came on and just really stepped in and kind of made the game his own? Was it his best game? I know we're going to keep saying that it was only London and cover your ears, George. They are shit, but you're going to beat what's in front of you. Did you feel Ackers kind of was aware of that and were like...
well, listening to them stats, I agree with you. I thought it was his best game. But it's the first time we've actually got our halfbacks and nines front foot ball consistently, so they can actually get on the front foot and we can see what they can do. And it's just proven if we can get a pack that can consistently do that for him, then he is the right man. Because I think there's been some doubts over him, or certainly on social media you see people questioning the new signings like Brodie, Ackers, sort of saying, we were promised these star signings. Well, they're only playing at 9. You are literally reliant on your props getting you quick play the balls to look effective. So I thought it was his best game. I thought he controlled it well, and I thought he supported Jack well. But I also thought the axis actually worked better than I thought it would have done when Croft went off. I thought they kind of slotted into the positions, and like we keep saying, it's only London, but
we're going to keep saying
it could have got really messy, and they could have won by 20 points. Is what I'm trying to say. Do I think we left points on the table? Absolutely. But I think that's just the standard of the opposition. You're going to kind of come away and think, actually, we probably could have scored 4 or 5 more tries.
I think if Croft was on that pitch for the full 80, it could have been 60, 70. Yeah. He was... You could see the difference in class, but he was also on one. I mean, his footwork was just tearing people apart. And but like you said, Duncan, I thought when Cammy was in at halfback and Jock at loose and Ackers came on, it worked. Like we adjusted really well, and it didn't seem to look any different. In fact, if anything, it might have looked a bit better at some points. So I think that's why I made it as a positive. It was the adjustment to the injuries, losing Croft and having to switch that around is a positive regardless of who you're facing.
We talk about Croft there and the way he started that game. We can't say ended because he never did, but he was on. To me, how I saw it, he was playing different. Now, is that because of the opposition and he's like, I'm going to get more chances here, or is it because of the squad's forming and being like, I've got Jack next to me and I need to inject myself into this game more? Maybe it's a mixture of both. But the Brodie I saw yesterday seemed a bit like a man on a mission.
I think it's a mixture of everything, isn't it? I think it's a mixture of the fact...
It seemed a bit pissed off.
It was London. It was a bit of a mixture of the fact that I think...
I need to... I'm in a good way.
Yeah, as in I want to step up.
How I'm playing, not him specifically, how the club are playing. We need to really... I felt like he was a man on a mission to say we need to rack up. Loads of points.
It was a mix of all those things for me. A mix of that frustration of wanting to prove himself and wanting him for the team to prove. Yeah. There could be an argument to say that Jack gave him a better platform. Potentially in that halfback slot, and maybe the pack gave him a better platform. There's also an argument, again, I feel like I'm going to bash London in this, but an argument just to say that it was just London, and there'll be other players in Super League that wouldn't fall as easily for him with his footwork. But again, he been his slice through butter for his first try. It was gorgeous, wasn't it? One step and just clean through and backed himself with pace. Although I think that's what tweaked his groin.
He felt it after he scored. I watched the tries back, and after the first try, he felt his groin straight away.
So if he is missing for the next game, Cameron said on the Hull review, imagine a partnership of Frawley and Sinfield.
And it was the only point in the podcast that me and you agreed with each other because we both went, no.
To say no. And now it looks like in a world we are going to see Frawley and Sinfield potentially. How does that fill you with dread, Duncan?
Well, Frawley was a 6 before he came over, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he played 6 for Canberra at the back end of last year.
Maybe this is the thing that when he hits his form, just plays 6.
I think there's two things of the opposition we're playing. If you're going to play Jack, which I would, I don't think you take Jack out of the team now. I think he's got to have an extended run. I don't care that we're playing Catalan away and then sent away, he stays in the side. I think we know Catalan are a big side. I personally would put name Cam at 6 Jared had been my 13, Ackers had been my 9, but when we're attacking, Miller had come into the line as a 6. So we'd almost attack without a full-back.
Yeah.
I'm not ruling out Edghill because I think he's doing well and his progression keeps getting better. I just think when you go away to places like Catalan, it's quite hostile. I think you need 2 youngsters in your spine opens you up to more errors than if you've got Miller at fullback. We know he does a safe job under the high ball and stuff like that. We're not going to cough up easy possession. I think if we move, there's some fans that have been saying move Miller to 6. I think if you move him to 6, you lose too much from his kick returns.
Yeah.
And teams will genuinely, it'll make them think when they kick the ball, they can't just lump it down the field and think, all right, Edgill's not as good a returner as what Miller is. And that's no slight on Edghill. That's just the fact that that's his game, his kick return. If he has a slightly broken field, he will spot a gap and go through it.
Find it.
That's the way I would go. I actually, like we said in the positives, I think, and Reece picked up on it, if Croft is missing, I still felt the bigger players looked better with that spine that we had in the set after the last 50, 60 minutes, whatever it was, than they have done all year. Now, and that's not just about, we were playing a crap side in London, but you can only beat what's in front of you. I do think you wipe that game and it doesn't ease the pressure on Rowan for me. I think you've got like the next 2 games, obviously Saints and Catalan. That'll give us more of an idea
of where we're at.
If we win one of those and lose one,
that,
fair. I think we'd all say, all right, fair enough. But I think if we get beat convincingly twice, regardless of injuries, the pressure then starts to mount again. Yeah.
I still think Edghill. I mean, Edghill gives me loads of confidence. You know, he looks so assured under the high ball, and he looks really confident on the pitch now. He's had the opportunity. So if it meant moving Miller into halfback and putting Edghill at fullback, I wouldn't be. Yeah, I wouldn't be that annoyed about it. I think I'd be quite happy with it.
I think it's just how physical Catalan are.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that sort of worries me. And to win there, you have to match their physicality. You're not going to go to Catalan and shift it side to side and beat them. Yeah. You're going to have to, at some point, front up and take them on up the middle. And I think we've been, the forwards this year consistently have been quite average. So I think if we can sort of play with 7 forwards, it's going to help us out a little bit more. That's my only. But I wouldn't look at a team sheet and go, oh, for fuck's sake, why is he playing Edghill? I like the role he's doing on the bench. It sort of gives you a little bit of cover as well.
Yeah.
Because I think.
Well, look at last night.
Yeah, I think 4 forwards.
It's 2 weeks in a row, though, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
We've had to shift around the back line again because of injury. Actually, potentially 3 weeks in a row. On the first week, we didn't have the cover.
For it.
So
all it takes is Harry to. Apparently, Harry should be back for the weekend. So if he's back, heaven forbid something should happen, then you need some sort of cover.
Yeah. Jared O'Connor's performance. What did you make of friend of the pod?
Our friend, yeah.
Jared O'Connor, what did you make of his performance last night?
Really pleased. Wanted to see him starting. We talked a bit about Jacksonfield having sort of Jacksonfield games to play, and I think there'll be certain ones like that for Jared this year. But no, thought it was brilliant. Everything you get with Jared, 150% work rate, defending absolutely everywhere. Didn't really put a foot wrong.
Does he ever, Duncan?
I think that was his most effective game. And weirdly enough, it came from starting. That's what intrigued me more about the 9s, because everyone says, including myself, was like, Ackers has got to start, O'Connor's got to be on the bench. But actually, when it worked the other way around, actually Ackers coming on after 20 minutes, I know it was a forced change, but it looked like it was...
Would you be happy if that happened in future? If Rowan said... God, Rowan said Jared's going to start, Ackers is going to... Do you think it's fluid and it isn't interchangeable, or do you rather see...
when you said about Frawley and Sinfield, I nearly called him Flawley then.
That's a lot nicer than what you normally call him, to be honest, Dunk.
When you said about what my reservations with Frawley and Sinfield would be, to me they're the same, too similar. I don't really see like a runner like when you've got Croft next to someone, you know he's gonna like eyes up rugby. He's gonna, if he spots a gap, he's through.
That gap, yeah.
So I think if we've for Jared, I like I've just said, I'd go Catalan. I'd happily see Jared start at 13 because I just think he gives you a little bit of energy. And I don't think Catalan react well when players start giving it to them.
Yeah. So we're going to miss Bentley.
Yeah. And I think if we start and we meet fire with fire, I think it's a winnable game. It's a winnable game. They've got a few.
Absolutely it is.
They've got a few in the pack missing. I do think a lot's going to fall down to his team selection. The team selections now are going to be very interesting over the next couple of weeks because, especially with the kids starting to knock on the door now, there's a few of them creating him the nice selection.
Both Ackers and Jared put in good performances yesterday. So, like you say, there's an argument for whatever the Brodie Croft situation is to keep both of those people on the pitch. I think the biggest compliment I can pay to Jared though is that his actual rugby development over the last 2 years, the fact that he can now slot in quite easily at 9, 13, and there's not a noticeable difference in terms of the quality of the play.
Second row, though.
Second row easily. He's not the biggest player, but you know,
better prop as well. He was a scrum half coming through, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think what I'm trying to say is rugby development has grown so much that now he can quite easily play 9 and 13. He wants to play 9, but I think he's got a real utility value to him.
And people will say, "Oh, you will talk up Jared O'Connor because he's been on the podcast loads," and you're absolutely right. And we'll always do that. We'll never ever slag Jared O'Connor off. We can promise.
Have you met his dad? His dad's at the away games all the time. Like, I don't want to say anything bad. He'll be having Tez come and finding me in the stand.
Lachie Miller, we kind of touched on him a little bit earlier. Bit of a perfect game for him, Reece, but is it a Lachie Miller game where he's going to find gaps, he can try these little trick plays and there's more chance of coming off than against, let's say, Saints or
You've still got to do it though. Like at Hull he was very absent. So against a side that we're saying is not as is not a very good side and we should have put more points
London
on.
London are shit.
But he didn't play well against Hull. He was very quiet against Hull. But in London on Friday, he did play well. His try, the setup for Ash's try was brilliant. He went through about 4 players. Turned his pace. Probably should have run all the way through. Really,
he must have just been knackered.
Have you seen the highlight of it though? Because like when Miller's coming up to the last man, Hanley's still not in the shot.
He's nowhere near.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you just see him steaming through like Forrest Gump during the middle of the pitch.
No one supporting him, and then he just bullets his.
It's because Jared's walking because he can't run any further because he's knackered. But look, Miller, he came into the line. He started coming into the line at the right points, and the try for Roberts was a really, really nice, well worked try because he came in the line at the right time. I think there was another one for Goudemon's try, where again he broke the line and Goudemon's on the inside. There was a lot of lovely things to see from Miller. A personal favourite when he jumped for the high ball and just offloaded it to Hanley.
Beautiful.
That was just so lovely and silky.
Motion,
yeah, absolutely. So, look, I love Lachie, and I was pleased to see him play as well as he did. I think in the ground, obviously Sinfield got man of the match, but I know on Sky, Lachie got man of the match, and he was easily the man of the match for me.
So if Croft doesn't play next week and beyond, do you agree with Duncan in that? Because Miller has played 6th and 9th previously. Would you keep Lachie at fullback or would you put him at 6? How would you like to see the Rhinos go? Looking ahead to Catalan.
This is why I'm not in the job. I think Miller's fray. I don't even know what word that was meant to be.
Fray, I think it was. Miller's fray.
Miller's
fray
threat from deep. I think this needs to be retained sometimes, and I think if I'm not really adverse to Cammy playing there, to be honest, at halfback and keeping Miller at fullback, and like you say, if that means we interchange the roles and the attacking structure and we be a bit more fluid, and from that perspective, I know I'm wanting the team to have more structure, but we have to maybe adapt our ways. But I think I'd rather, when you've got a side as big as Catalan, like you say, I think I'd rather have Cammy in the middle of the pitch with Miller at the back than Miller in the middle defending.
Awesome. Justin Sangare, 107 metres.
Yep.
What did you make of Sangare's performance? He scored a try, career best, 107 metres.
Not a career best, season best.
I think it's a career best. I will go in with it then. You know the whole stats thing.
You can't give a stat without like. Talk to Duncan and I'll find out.
107 metres and a try for him. It's only London. We're going to keep saying that. It's like the 9th time we've said it. Were you impressed with Sangare yesterday, Duncan? I know you're not particularly his biggest fan. Deep breath.
Yeah. It made my mind up for Sangare.
What, yesterday?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's not good enough.
Right.
Like, regardless of 107 metres, he's not good enough. I think he...
just say it, Duncan.
It should be a game where a prop... What was mixed numbers? 160 odd metre?
165.
Yeah.
165, yeah.
The gap in that's massive. When you're talking about playing a part-time team, so let's not forget that. It's a part-time team.
Yeah, London are shit.
And that. I don't think he looked destructive. I never think he wins the ground. I never think he gets quick play of the balls. Yes, he's had a decent game. I'd be more impressed if he went to Catalan and put up 80 to 100 metres with an average carry of 7 metres a carry, let's say, and didn't score a try and didn't try any like silly offloads. I also think he's defensively poor. When you watch him, it looks like he's defending on ice skates. He's just all over the place. He never sort of wins collision in any, and that's the main goal for me for a prop, is to win the collision and provide your 9 with quick ball if you're going forward, or if you're defending, get them turtled on the back. So it made my mind up that he's not good enough.
He's been here a year now, Reese. Just over a year. Sangare, 2 years, a year.
It's 2.
This is his
2 years.
This is his second season, isn't it? This is his second season.
Second season.
Yeah.
So he's been here just over. Let's call it a year and a half. Have you seen, in terms of his debut, from have you seen much change from last year to this year? Has he changed enough? Has he evolved enough as a player?
Well, I'm just looking. So last year he was averaging 55 metres per game, which isn't a lot.
It's diabolical. That's what it is.
So I'm just trying to do this whilst also speaking to the mic to make sure I don't miss anything. But if I look at what he's doing so far this year, he's averaging 57.8.
Improvement then. We're all nodding agreement.
So,
but that's with the London game padding out them stats.
Potentially, yes. Well, not potentially. Yes,
Yes.
because the London game has happened. But
so he stays stagnant.
Has he improved? I don't think so. There was some really early signs actually when he started, and I was quite excited when, like, the first couple of games he was actually probably the best player. I remember when we Warrington and those first rounds, but again, for me, you know my feelings on this. It should have been TMW. Tom Scotland should have been starting.
Yeah, more game time.
That game, and I'm not really sure. I mean, and I know what you mean about the defence. I've seen that. We've seen Sam Lasoni be quite like that in defence sometimes as well. You know, he's not on his own in this position.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think we are missing another starting prop at the moment that is of the standard of Aledzki.
Yeah, but they just don't.
And I'm not saying we expect
few and far between.
They are few and far between, but we still need someone who is can rely on who's of a level that can
mix level,
not mix level, but that can approach me. Look, if we could have 2 mix, I'd be snap your hand off.
Get Tom O'Mahon from Lee.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think that when he's in that starting role, is he giving the impact that he should do? Probably not. I agree with Lasoni not starting because he's an impact prop only.
That's the only reason Sangare starts, isn't it? Because Lasoni provides so much impact off the bench, and Sangare won't provide similar. So that's why he's not starting because he's the better prop. He's starting because there's no one else to do the job. To do the job.
It sounds like we're missing Tom Holroyd.
Yeah. I think we are missing Tom Holroyd quite a lot at the moment. And I mean, Sangare's got the potential. Like, if sometimes his offloads are brilliant. But for every one great offload he does, he probably does a really stupid one. The one thinking about the Huddersfield where he literally gave it to, I can't remember who it was, but literally was stood right in front of him.
Is that not the nature of the beast, though? Playing offload game, it's a bit risky?
It's a bit of the nature of the beast, but there's also... That was
time and a place.
Yeah, time and a place, and that was really, really stupid. But I want him to do well because I want him to succeed. But at the moment, I'm just not seeing that development. The development is an extra 2 metres a game at the moment.
That's another positive. I'll write that down. We must talk about Jack. There was a lot of clamour on our live stream for the whole game. Loads of you on watching on YouTube, yourself included, Duncan, were saying it's time for Jack Sinfield. Frawley has to go. It's time for Jack Sinfield. Jack played, started, scored. What did you make of his whole performance? And more importantly, is this now the foundation for Jack to continue for the rest of the year, for X amount of games moving forward?
Well, Jack's done what Frawley should have done in the first 9 rounds, which is enable, I know he was only on for half an hour max, but he enabled Brodie Croft to be Brodie Croft. We've not had a 7 next to him that's enabled him to do that. I also think his kicking game was better. I have seen some people online saying it was all hackers. I think that's a little bit harsh. I think Frawley's bombs are aimless. You can probably count on one hand. He's similar to what Caesar was in a Leeds shirt. You can count on. I mean, Mark called him one kick all last year, didn't he? Because he did one good kick a game. So it's pretty similar with Frawley again.
Struggling with Frawley, isn't it? That's a new nickname, Frawley.
That's it. So
Flawed Matt Frawley.
So it's pretty similar.
I
this
hope he
year.
says it again.
I thought Frawley
There we go.
was pretty poor against. Well, he was pretty poor against Hull. I think it needed doing. Fair hats off to Rowan. I didn't think he'd do it. I didn't.
No,
I didn't
did not
think
think he'd do it.
I didn't think he'd come out and say, "I've dropped him," because I am critical of Rowan. That took balls. He's sat his overseas quota signing down in the stands, and he's not said he's injured. I've rested him.
Yeah.
It's purely a selection, and he's dropped.
It's form, yeah.
It's
a form-based selection.
Hats off. But going back to Jack, I think he showed more of a skill set as well as a 7. There was the fired pass to Hanley coming towards me that, again, I've not seen a guy pass a ball like that since Maguire. Now, I'm not saying...
Goodness,
just
hang
on.
We need the bell in here,
Hang on. What I mean is, we're very...
I know what you're trying to say.
When we pass the ball side to side, we're really loopy. Our passes are quite loopy. We've got very quick wingers in Ash, not Roberts, but think of another outside back, Newman. If we can put them in space, firing the ball to them, give them an extra couple of seconds on the ball. Also, his spiral bomb in the second half, which Kershaw did well to take. We've not seen Frawley put any upper kick like that. They always seem really safe kicks, as if he's just like happy to keep it in the field of play, which sometimes he doesn't.
It probably is just happy to keep it in the field of play.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can knock Jack. Is there a question around playing against a better team? We don't know, because he hasn't played against a better team yet. All he's done is he's come in. Frawley's played against a poor side in Hull. Didn't have the impact that Jack had against London. So that's all for me. That's all you can really go off at the minute.
That's all we've got. Yeah.
He does look more ready physically as well to deal with, like, defensively.
I was talking to Chris about this before. It was last year. I was a bit nervous when he used to go into contact, because I felt like, he's going to get battered here, because he was just a young 18-year-old. He looked like a boy. He's certainly grown. He's grown up, hasn't he? He's filled out. He's got bigger. He grew into the game as well. He certainly looks more confident in his appearance and confidence in his own ability. I think last year when we saw him, I don't think he had quite that confidence to be able to take the line on as much. But I think you're certainly seeing a player that's got more game time, has had more training, has had more time with professionals. And you probably will have to credit people like Croft and Frawley for that, because he's been spending time with them. But as Duncan said, Frawley had his game against Hull, against a poor team, didn't do much. I'm not saying Jack set the world alight, but he did his job well. scored a try with a great support and grew into the game, and we started to see a little bit more structure. But I think to really get the barometer of where Jack is in his development, throw him in at the deep end.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is for me, what are you losing from? You only gain from playing these kids, because Jack's not going to be as much on the cap as Frawley, so you've got more money. The fact that Frawley's a quota spot, if you can produce a young halfback of our own that can take up one of the key positions, there's not many halves around. You may as well give him an extended run, because you can't lose anything. I think for me, yes, I'll be like I've said, I'm rowing out, but it gives him more time as well for me, because you can actually see this long-term plan that he's been brought in to do. You can actually see when he's playing the likes of Lum, Simfield, Edgill. Right, fair enough. That if that's the direction we're going, I'm all on board for it.
I agree.
What I can't have is a guy playing at 7 who is ineffective, and you're looking at it, questioning, and you see, all we see for the last 5 weeks is Simfield ripping it up in the reserves. That's literally all he can do. What do we gain from going, right, go to another Super League club? We don't gain anything. The fact that last year St Helens was sniffing around him, that should tell the club all. I mean, the club rate him highly, but that tells me all we need to know. The fact that he is rated amongst other clubs as well. So I think for me, I think he has the shirt and he goes for the rest of the year unless he gets injured. That'd be my take on it.
Comes down to your point, Eddie, about McDonald last year. We talked about this a couple of times.
Yeah.
He has the opportunity to make himself undroppable, I think. So I don't think he's done anything to be dropped. So why should he be dropped?
We always, like, last night on Sky, I watched the game on Sky, and they were talking about, is it Ollie Leyland?
Yeah.
And we always seem to be surprised whenever there's a young British, English halfback at other clubs. Like, well, he looks all right, and we've got one.
Yeah.
We've got one cut from a cloth, one of the finest cloths ever to play the game. And why are we giving... Other clubs seem to be saying that these young English halfbacks, we'll give you a year. The young kid who was just sadly got injured at Wyatt. Hayes. Yeah. Sam Burge the same. He had Drinkwater. Said, you're not playing, mate.
Yeah.
I'm backing this young English half. London perhaps have to do this. You know, Hull have done it with Michael Lewis. We all know about the Saints halfbacks. We have one there. So why don't we say, you, particularly for this year, smack him on the arse and say, right, Jack, it's yours to lose now. You know, we've seen Riley Lund would have played the rest of the year. He probably could potentially come back in. He would have, he absolutely hit the ground running. There was no reason to drop that kid. McDonald did it last year. You hit the nail on the head again, Reese. Just play him and say, sink or swim. Go for it. And then we all stand back and go, and you've hit the nail on the head as well, Dunk, saying, right, Rowan's playing these younger kids, he's giving them a chance, and we're all, as a fan base, go, we can see the bigger picture here. So maybe we won't beat Wigan, but we've got 5 kids there who next year will be miles better, and maybe they will be in a position where
that's been the thing for me. It's like you can't wait for how does someone get to 50 games? How does someone get experience? They only get experience through playing. Now Jack last year, to pick up on what Reece said, I don't think he didn't look ready physically. This year, to me last night, yes, it's only London. But
I won't say it.
He looked physically like he can handle the knocks, and he will be able to handle the knocks. And I think if you put him in against, he's gonna have to at some point play at Catalan and play at St Helens.
Yeah.
So why not now?
Yeah.
Why not now?
And I think if Rowan's going to do it, Rowan shouldn't be doing it to appease people like Duncan, who, and I'm not meaning that to you in general, but Rowan should do it because he believes it's the right decision.
Yeah.
And and if he does believe it's the right decision, I think people would ease off a little bit. To be fair, I know we've seen the comments from Peter Smith about a witch hunt this last week.
I didn't agree with that
and stuff, and
shockingly enough,
I do think that. I think Rowan should do it because he believes it's the right thing to do, but I also do think that us as fans would love nothing more to see Jack play against Catalan and given that opportunity.
He has to play.
And if he doesn't play well, then Rowan's got the decision to make the choice again, hasn't he?
But I think as a fan, like, you're not going to come on like a podcast or stand at a game and aim your frustration. You'd have to be really, really cynical to aim your frustrations at a young lad.
A kid, yeah.
You'd have to. I don't think I've ever seen it. And I think it buys him, like I was saying, it would buy him more time, because you can actually see where we're building to, rather than, we've signed another dud at 7 and we're not we're still no, because the thing that goes around for me is like we're still far away from St Helens as we were when Rowan came, but actually you can see where we're built if we get these guys into the squad and get them integrated into the team, because there's still the likes of McCormack to come through as well. You can actually see where we're going.
McCormack's plural. Jack Smith was playing at the halfbacks for the reserves today. Yeah. There's still all these youngsters.
Nicholson, Watton, as you mentioned. So I think, like I say, I think I'm all for it. Every youngster that's come in this year seems to have had in their first game a decent game. I don't think I've seen one youngster come in where we haven't gone, they're at least a 7 out of 10. Like Edgell at Hull KR, we were saying, I was on the podcast and we were saying that, he was solid and he's provided us something. I think that's where you get your depth in your squad.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to come from the top 20. If you've got the guys outside that, if you can get 4 or 5 youngsters this year, next year they're that little bit older, and all of a sudden the Ryan Hall signing then seems to make a little bit of sense if you've got Riley Lum. Because what better winger to learn from than Ryan Hall for Riley Lum?
Doing a better one.
Whereas, like, if you're not bringing these guys in and you go, well, why are we signing Ryan Hall when he's 37 years old? Why are we not giving Riley Lum and then McCormack? Do you know what I mean? It kind of it makes a lot more sense to what he's doing in terms of like the signings, and I still think we need something in the background. I'd still go down the director of rugby route. Purely from a point of view of, I do think he's learning on the job. I think he's an assistant that's learning how to be a head coach, and he is an established head coach now. He's been here this is into his
2 years now.
Yeah. 2 years. So that sort of, and he has done loads of great work off the field, but it's now you've got to start winning games. But if we're not winning games, then you need to see that. Right, where's the direction this team's going?
Where's the future?
The future's not in a 37-year-old winger, even though he is an amazing 37-year-old winger. The future's in the likes of Riley Lum and Jack Sinfield. So
we talk about Riley Lum. He's played one game,
but it was an outstanding game, wasn't it?
But that's the thing. And we've got these.
He had an astonishing average carry today. On Friday night. 1 carry, 35 metres. That's just unbeatable. Well, you can't buy that. You can't buy that.
I didn't realise how good that try against FC was.
Yeah, brilliant.
Didn't realise how good it was because I didn't watch it back. So I was that annoyed when I got home from the game, and I saw it on Twitter the next day. He actually had He had there were 6 All FC players in his defenders coming across, and he's still managed to find his way to the line.
And absolutely hit the line. Player stats from the player ratings.
Player ratings. Sorry. Yeah, so for the we'll
player ratings.
Tell you what, should we start with Rowan?
What was he last week?
1.8, I think. He's
higher than that now.
I gave him my highest of the season.
I think he's
bloody hell. Why did you give him the highest then?
Team selection. Because that's what you rate. To me, that's what you.
The balls to play to drop for all.
Yeah.
So in the previous 3 weeks, he was 1.4, 1.8. You'll be pleased to know, Eddie. He is. Oh, that's last week's. Pleased to know it is a 5.2.
That's his highest of the year, then.
No, it's not.
In it?
No, his highest of the year was after Catalan round 3. He got a 7.3.
I do think there'll be people within that just saying. It's only London.
Yes, we've said all podcast.
They are though, but like you said, Duncan, you're someone that's Rowan out. I've said he's not the guy for me anymore.
Yeah.
But you've got we all 3 of us said he won't drop Frawley.
No.
And he did, and he made the call.
Yeah.
And he made the call.
Yeah,
so you've got to give it credit. So let's start a fullback. Lachlan Miller, 8.3.
Way too low.
You always say that.
No, but that is he couldn't have done any more.
I did put Riley Lum there, but I'm not going to give Riley Lum a score because it's not really fair, really. Reece 6.7.
Too low.
Lewis Roberts 5.7.
He did score.
I know. I feel a bit harsh on Lewis.
1 metre away from the line.
Doesn't matter. He still scored.
He
Didn't do anything wrong, did he? Anyway, just leave him alone. He's just picking on a ginger. That's what it is. Poor Laurie.
Laurie's grey. He's not ginger.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, was.
Sorry, lost.
Ash Hanley 6.8. Brody Cross 7.2.
So hang on, Brodie Croft
I
played.
thought you were going to talk about Laurie's hair then. I'm sorry.
So hang on, you're trying to tell me Laurie got injured.
You two can't talk about hair.
Brodie Croft got what? Sorry,
7.2.
And played 29 minutes.
Yeah, 29, 30 minutes, yeah.
And scored.
Yeah.
Ash played the whole game, scored, and got
6.8.
A lot of people watching.
Make it make sense.
You know what I mean? A lot of people watching.
Jack 7.5. Aledzki 7.1.
Way too low.
Jared 7.4. Justin 6. James McDonald 6.6. Michael Gudemond 6.8. Cam Smith 6.8. Sam Lasone 7. Leon Ruin 5.8. Alfie Edgels 6.3. And Andy Ackers 7.7.
What did Aledzki get?
7.1, wasn't it?
Yeah, Duncan listens. 7.1.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Way too low. Do you agree, disagree with all of those? Like me?
Well, the top three players are Miller, Sinfield and Ackers.
I'd agree with that.
Over the 80 minutes, I mean, Croft would have easily been the man of the match if he was carrying on the rate he was going.
6 tries as well.
He'd have been mental.
Man possessed last night.
But look, as a measurement of the top three, I think that's bang on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some of those bits.
And actually, probably in the right order.
I agree. So, who is your Fast Signs player of the match, Statman Reese?
I think those three would be my nominations. I think those nominations being Sinfield, Ackers, and Miller. I think Ackers made a right impact. 3 assists, a 40-20 over 100 metres.
I forgot the 40-20.
I thought Ackers was brilliant, but unfortunately, Miller was just
Miller
the better.
Time.
200 odd metres, 3 assists. He didn't miss a tackle either.
The beautiful back pass to Hanley.
12 tackle busts. He's second in the league for tackle busts at the moment. Is Lockie. It's Miller for me.
Duncan, Fast Signs player of the match for you?
Andy Ackers.
Really?
Just
so I've got that. I've already written it down there.
Look, I think he showed what he can do last night, and I think people need to just get off his back a bit, and we need we know you don't become an England hooker by being average, but you are reliant on your pack, and it's down to the pack to get him good ball. If we get him good ball, he'll rip teams to shreds.
As he did last night.
So that's why I'd go Ackers, because I was expecting Miller to have a good game last night.
Yeah.
That's purely why I'm going Ackers.
Fair enough.
So I've got the deciding vote?
Yeah, sure, pod at the end of the day.
Justin Sangare.
No.
You are the... What? What are you laughing at? No, Lucky Miller for me. I thought he absolutely tore it up. Again, London were crap, and it is a Miller game where you expected him to work all this magic, but I just thought he saw it, read everything perfectly, scored a couple of assists. Lucky Miller, you are the Fast Signs player of the match. Anything else before we go?
I'm going to Catalan for the first time.
Oh, you are? So, are you excited? How long are you going for? Where are you flying from?
Got Friday, Monday from Manchester, flying from Manchester, flying to Carcassonne, and then I'm going to get the train from Carcassonne to Perpignan, and I'm staying in an Airbnb in Perpignan for the weekend.
Are you going to get really pissed at the game?
Most likely, yeah. I'm just really looking forward to it. It's meant to be 22 degrees, blue sky. I've heard, you've heard so much about Catalan's atmosphere and what it's like. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's like. I'm pleased we've won the last 2 games because it makes the going to the game feel less threatening. I think Catalan will want a frustrated. They've lost 2 games in a row. They've conceded 30 points in both those games, which is not like shut up. They're not like them. So no, but I'm absolutely really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meet. Yeah. Does he listen?
22 degrees.
Does he listen to this
skies.
podcast?
Have you checked it now recently?
Yeah,
I checked it this morning.
I checked it
It's
today.
thunderstorms.
No, I didn't. But no, and if anyone is going to Catalan this weekend, just come.
You're going to see him.
Come find
He's going
us.
to be in a string vest,
Leather.
String vest,
lobster
flip flops.
flip flops
with one of them bucket hats on with
Bucket-
two
with
pints on
two
either
pints
side
and
with a straw in mouth.
And buy him a drink if you see him. Thanks everyone. Thanks Duncan. Thanks Statman Reese. Please do subscribe to us on YouTube. We've got 500 subscribers. We are going for 1,000. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time some of our content goes live on our YouTube channel. And we also do now have a Patreon. So if you have enjoyed our content, if you enjoyed this podcast, the details will be down below, the top pinned comment. If you want to chuck us a few quid, it just all goes to the studio, to the equipment, and just to supporting us in our journey and making more content. And we'll be back. Will you be here then for that? When do you go?
Friday.
You go Friday.
So we'll do the week.
I really should listen more to what Reece said on this podcast. We'll be
This
back.
is a classic husband and wife thing between me and you
is.
sometimes,
we
isn't
always
it?
We always bicker and argue off camera as well.
Weekly pod will be on Thursday because
we'll be
that's when the
back for
team
weekly
news will
pod
come out.
on Thursday. Thanks everyone. We'll see you then. Take care.